Why does ls wrap some file names in single quotes? I've noticed that when I do ls in a terminal, some file names are wrapped in single quotes and some aren't. I don't like the way this looks, as I prefer my terminal outputs to be nice and uniform. What causes this functionality, and is it possible to safely disable it?
Why ls wrap some file names in single quotes? Ls wraps single quotes around file names with spaces in them, for the purpose of allowing the file names to be safely copied, used in a script or piped through another command. This was a highly unpopular feature introduced to version 8.25 of the new coreutils package as recently as 2016, by a consensus of just 3 developers. Arguments cited by critics of the change include that it makes the output of ls look considerably more unsightly, unnecessarily diverges from nearly half a century of Unix tradition, and due to the way it was implemented, opt-out instead of opt-in, breaks compatibility with long-standing existing scripts and utilities. Because the feature was introduced to the coreutils package, which virtually every Linux distribution depends on and which ls is a part of, the change affects every Linux or Linux-like system imaginable, from Arch Linux to Cygwin. In the case of Debian and Debian-derived distros like Ubuntu, the change was at some point reverted after considerable protest, before being once again reinstated in October 2017. As this answer makes clear, the best way to register your disappointment at this change would be to contact the coreutils developers directly via a bug report and, politely, make the argument that they've made a huge mistake. As per the open source ethos, a critical mass of users respectfully but adamantly insisting that the way ls used to behave be properly reinstated should in theory be enough to convince the coreutils developers to listen to the Linux community. Restoring ls pre-version 8.25 behavior. In the more short-term, pragmatic sense, there are several ways you can restore ls pre-version 8.25 behavior of leaving all output intact. Below are 3 methods to doing so for the bash shell. Use the quoting _ style environment variable. Find your ~/.bashrc file in your home folder, /home/ your username, and add the following line to it. Save the file, and the change should apply immediately to all new bash terminals that you open. You can also run source.bashrc to have the changes be pushed to any terminal windows that were open at the time of making the change. Create an alias to lsn. If you prefer aliases to environment variables, you can also create an alias in .bashrc that uses 8.25 as new n switch. From ls help n literal print entry names without quoting. To do this, add the following line to your ~/.bashrc file and save it. Run source.bashrc to have the new change be pushed to all open terminals. For the current run only, use the n command line switch. If you prefer coreutils' new default behavior but want to bypass it temporarily, you can also use the n switch directly in a command.